What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be a new video. I have, well, a new type of video, I should say, on this channel, as opposed to what you're regularly accustomed to. And I've thought long and hard about doing something like this. I don't really, this is going to sound crazy, I don't really care that much about sports. I used to when I was younger. And I still follow it mainly, I keep an eye on it, like the NFL. And really the only thing I care about is, if I can win something out of these games. So that's why you see what you see on the screen right now, which is DraftKings. And I'm going to start throwing in my 2 cents on, I'm going to try. I'm going to see how it goes. We'll see how it does. I've been playing DraftKings, DFS for years, and not until recently have I been really into it, paying attention to stuff. So I just think it would be interesting to see how it goes. I'm not the best, but I'm not bad. I'm actually pretty decent. Obviously, with a lot of these types of content videos, it's when it comes to DFS, it's hit or miss when you make these picks, and obviously when you're right, you're looking really good. When you're wrong, people point you out and say you're a scrub or whatever. But most of the time, I'm pretty decent at making some good calls. I'll give you Thursday night football, for example. Everybody was saying Lamar. Everybody got to play Lamar. Marquise Brown should have a decent night. Mark Andrews. The running game should be on point. And, maybe even the Ravens defense and Myles Gaskin should be, in some lineups and blah, 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 blah. And I was thinking, on my end, on a game perspective, I was like, my gut's telling me something else. I feel like this is a trap game. And lo and behold, it was. The Miami Dolphins showed up. The defense did its job. Lamar was not the typical Lamar that we see week in and week out. And they pulled off the upset. It was a wild game. I didn't watch the whole thing, but, it was 6-3 for most of the game until the second half, deep into the second half. And, I was saying, hey, this is going to be a trap game. The Dolphins, they came to play. They showed up. Mark Andrews was really the main, I think he was the main stud. He got most of the targets and receptions and all that stuff. Early on, Devontae Freeman looked like he was going to be, he was going to have a decent night. But more and more, the Dolphins defense just stepped up. Albert Wilson was really the one who really showed up for the Dolphins. And, it was just kind of like a scrap of a game. There really wasn't that much going on outside of the Dolphins defense. So I was right about that. And on the betting scale, I was picking the Dolphins by 3. I thought it was going to be within that 3-point margin. And for a while, it was going to be. I was even saying before I went to bed, I was like, it'd be funny if this game ends up 6-3 Miami. And I was and I won that bet line, but alas, that didn't happen. So enough of talking about this. It's a very long intro, so if you're new to the channel, I apologize for that. So we're just going to start with the quarterbacks. And obviously, all eyes are on Kyler Murray and his questionable status going up against the Panthers. It looks like a game time decision. The difference this time is that Murray has practiced, albeit once, on Friday in a limited capacity. So I don't know how I feel about that. Obviously, game time decisions. Arizona playing at 4 p.m. I think, because they're at home, so they're playing at 4. I really don't, unless you're playing the afternoon only on those slates. That's fine. You can wait to hear. But an injured Kyle Murray, especially with an ankle, with him being as mobile as he is, and the Carolina defense actually playing pretty well despite their offense, I think I'd hold off on the main slate and maybe go with either Justin Herbert. I mean, it's Minnesota. Minnesota's defense, I know they're 31st overall, but I mean, they've given, and you know, for like 2.5 quarters, they shut down the Ravens, and then they just then everybody, then the Ravens decided to play football, so then they came back and won. But Minnesota's defense, despite them being 31st, they haven't been awful. But I think this is a good game for Justin Herbert. He may be like my main guy. The guy has just been playing just so well this entire year. I mean, against Philadelphia, he put up 356 and 2 touchdowns. He went for 34 points. And it was a close game. And his completion percentage was like a whopping 84%, which is insane. So I would look at Justin Herbert as number one. Tom Brady is always somebody to throw in there. I mean, the dude has thrown 25 touchdowns and only 5 picks. And 2 of those picks came in the last game against the Saints. But of course, Washington's defense has not played up to their standards like from last year. But they're at home. It's I know what the saying is. You never bet against Tom Brady, but he is missing some key contributors. They're a little banged up, but Tom Brady, I would say, is always a solid option. Dak Prescott, I think, is someone to take a look at as well. I know that game against Denver was garbage until some garbage time points when he put up 2 touchdowns. I look for them to bounce back, honestly, against Atlanta. Atlanta is playing above the standard that everyone had set them at. But Dallas is at home. They're trying to bounce back from that embarrassing loss to Denver. I would think Dak Prescott's a solid option at 6,900. Russ is finally back. They're gonna be in Green Bay. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, he's playing incredible with 10 touchdowns, only 1 pick. And Green Bay's defense is it's middle of the road. It's not bad. It's pretty good. Russell Wilson at 6,700, coming back from that finger injury, might be someone to look at. Maybe at the most, I would look at some of his playmakers like Tyler Lockett. And then Matt Ryan is a solid low key value option. So is Carson Wentz with Indy against Jacksonville. I mean, their defense has not been that great either. I actually really like Carson Wentz here at home against the Jaguars, especially after the last few games where he's put up 3 touchdowns. That one against Tennessee, those interceptions. I mean, one of them came off just a stupid throw. But I mean, against the Jets, 272 and 3 tutties. I mean, that's solid. He's been putting up over 20 points the last 3 weeks, and against a bad Jacksonville defense, I think Carson Wentz is another great value option. Outside of that, I'm not really too. I mean, if you really want to punt, you can throw in Trevor Lawrence at 53 against the 25th ranked Indy defense, but I'm just not comfortable doing that. He's struggled to find the end zone, and he's thrown more picks than touchdowns, which is kind of disappointing, but it is what it is. But yeah. So those are the quarterbacks. Like I said, my top guys right here would be Herbert and Brady. You could go Josh Allen at 7,900, but I'm just not sure. The Jets, I mean, you just never know what you're going to get with the Jets. I mean, you could get this one of the best defensive performances of the year out of the Jets, and then they could be the Jets and completely fall over and have Josh Allen put up 30 or 40 fantasy points. Again, this may be one where I throw in Cole Beasley, but we'll get to that later. So Herbert, Brady, Prescott, let's see, and then for value, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz. Yeah. So running backs, the big one here is Alvin Kamara being out with a knee injury. It's a mild sprain, but regardless, that means Mark Ingram is going to be getting the carries. And there's Dwayne Washington as well. They also have Lamar Miller. Wait, really? Lamar Miller? I didn't know that. So I think off the bat, Jonathan Taylor is honestly the guy has just been playing lights out week in and week out, and he has just been a score. He has been a major component of the Colts offense. He's scored touchdowns in the last, like the last 5 weeks. 2 of those weeks he's put up double digit, or 3 of those games he's put up double digit touchdowns. It took him a while to get going in the early stages, but since then, I mean, he has just gone off week in and week out, getting touchdowns. He's always a solid option against Jacksonville. I expect him to be a big focal point. Dalvin Cook against the Chargers, they're not really good at stopping the run, so he is another solid option, especially at 8K. I mean, I know he's been up there like in the upper echelons of 8K, but I think that's a solid option. Najee Harris against Detroit. This is probably another one of my favorite options for the week against the Detroit defense. Austin Eckler is another one, just on a pure volume standpoint, because his involvement in the passing game and the running game. Chubb is out with COVID, so and I think isn't Kareem Hunt out too? Man, I remember now. The other Cleveland running back, the rookie, where is he? Dearness Johnson. Yeah, he's played really well. That's a great when he came. He played really well when he came in there against Denver, 22 for 146. Since then, he's been kind of quiet, obviously, with the return of Chubb. But Ezekiel Elliott against Atlanta is another solid option, especially at 7K. Aaron Jones is always a solid option. Seattle hasn't had the best run defense this year, especially Aaron Jones at 6,900. I think is a really good price. Swift is someone you can look at just on a pure volume standpoint because of the passing game and the run. He hasn't really scored all that much, but on the when they're playing from behind and they're having to throw the ball and he's getting those reception points, he's putting up solid fantasy points. So that is someone you could look at. I really like Cordero Patterson. He's on 2 of my best ball leagues, and he has exceeded expectations obviously for this year. He is just so versatile and so dangerous with the football no matter where he lines up. I know Dallas's defense has been better, but I think Cordell Patterson, still at 6,600, I think is a great price for him. Outside of that, the only options I would look at as far as value plays, you could go Antonio Gibson, maybe, Melvin Gordon, Zach Moss, maybe. Javonte Williams is another solid option. And I love A.J. Dillon as a punt play. You know, he's really touchdown dependent, but he finds a way to get involved in these games a lot. He just hasn't scored. That's the big problem. But Dearness Johnson's probably my favorite value play this week, especially going against New England. They haven't really stopped the run all that well. And, you know, Cleveland, they're a run-first team. So I think Dearness Johnson is a great value option. Tony Pollard is another one of my favorite flex value options. He just sees the ball so much. Didn't see it a lot in the Denver game, but he gets a lot of attempts. But again, one of those things where he just really needs to score a touchdown. So wrapping it up, obviously, you could go CMC. His return last week was kind of underwhelming. He fumbled the ball. He had over 100 scrimmage yards, which is what helped get him up to 14 points, but kind of underwhelming, and going against Arizona's defense, which has been playing really well. I'm not sure if I'd pay $8,400 for that. So again, Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook, Najee Harris, Austin Eckler. My top core plays would be Taylor and Harris, honestly. Maybe Dalvin Cook. These 4 running backs just have such big play potential and are such big keys of the offense that for the team they play for. You can go with any of them, and their price range is pretty close together. So obviously multiple lineups, you just want to rotate. Then the mid pack, as far as price goes, Ezekiel Elliott, Aaron Jones, Swift. If you're thinking like on a volume standpoint, Patterson, same deal. And then as far as value goes, Dearness Johnson is probably my favorite. A lot of these other players are just a lot of touchdown or bust. I think Antonio Gibson here at 5,500 is a great option for a punt play, or not punt, but maybe value. All right, wide receiver. Oh yeah, duh. I didn't even bring it up. Mark Ingram. I don't even know how much he cost. 4,500. Yes. So this should probably be the number one punt play. I had to look at Alvin Kamara to remember that. First time doing one of these videos, y'all. Please cut me some slack. So yeah, Mark Ingram is probably my second favorite value play. Obviously, first would be Dearness Johnson. Okay, now on to receivers. So obviously, Devontae Adams, but no Aaron Rodgers. I'm not sure if I really like it that much. A.J. Brown against the Saints. He's obviously been the number one receiver, and he's been just dominating. Especially there was a 3-game stretch where he just torched defenses. So A.J. Brown probably is one of my probably one of the top plays. We could go Terry McLaurin just because of how bad the Tampa secondary is right now. I really like. Let's see. I'm always iffy on these. Return to practice. See how he feels Saturday before clearing him. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I think Mike Evans is probably my favorite Tampa Bay receiver this week because of, one, his price point at 6,900, and then two, Godwin being banged up. They don't have Antonio Brown is still out. I just think Gronk is out as well. I just think Mike Evans is probably one of my favorite receiver plays this week. The Keenan Allen, we have to check his injury. He's got a knee issue. They're expecting him to start, but again, especially with someone like Allen who's had injury problems in the past, I don't know how much I trust it. If they're expecting him to start, he should be fine. Especially at 7K, that's a great price for him. Let's see. Deontay Johnson is another great option. He's basically the number one receiver. Tyler Lockett, despite the Green Bay having the fifth overall defense, I mean, come on. He had 12 catches against Jacksonville, which is pretty nuts. He was quiet the other 2 weeks, but I think that was with Geno, I believe. So I expect Lockett to have a good game against Green Bay. Chase Claypool's out. I didn't even realize that. So that makes the Deontay Johnson pick even better. And, of course, a punt play on James Washington. Michael Pittman is another one I'm really liking. He's really coming on strong in this offense. And against Jacksonville, I mean, there may be some lineups where I really stack the Colts with Taylor and Pittman, or Carson Wentz and Taylor and Pittman. I mean, I just expect you expect that. I don't really think this is too much of a trap game, but let's see. Amari Cooper at 6,200. I mean, I know CeeDee Lamb has been playing really well, but Amari Cooper being at 6,200, I mean, that just seems too cheap for me, especially someone who is so good. That's all I'm going to say. Cooper is another favorite. Marvin Jones, maybe. I know Indy has played well, but at 5,800, pass defense isn't the best in Indy. If it all depends on if they can protect Trevor Lawrence. That's really what it comes down to. Not really. Cole Beasley is another favorite value just because of the volume that he gets, especially within the last few weeks. Let's see. Jarvis Landry. I think Jarvis Landry becomes a really good value option this week at 52 since Odell Beckham is gone. Same with, you could look at Donovan Peoples-Jones as well. Marquez Callaway. I really was expecting him to have a bigger year, but we'll see. He did find the end zone last week, but again, like he hasn't really had that eye popping game. Russell Gage is a decent option as well. Let's see. Usually I like Tim Patrick. He's got a nose for the end zone. He is questionable though, so that's one of those things that you just would have to keep an eye on. Donovan Peoples-Jones looks like a solid option with Odell Beckham gone as well at 4,800. Is T.Y. Hilton coming back? Wow, okay. I was really hoping for him. I was really hoping he would have a bigger year, but he's just been injured so much. I mean, if you really if you want to put your eggs in that basket, you can at 4,700. It's probably the best shot for him to go off. Let's see. Pascal's okay. Yeah. Not too much else, I guess. Not really too sold on anyone else. So basically, A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans, Deontay Johnson, Mike Williams is a solid option. Keenan Allen, I forgot to mention Keenan Allen in there. Mari Cooper, Michael Pittman. Yeah, so I mean, you can go with a lot of those options, but my favorites, I'll say like my favorite plays, Terry, Keenan, Evans, Johnson, Pittman, Cooper, Beasley for value, Landry for value, Russell Gage for value, and Donovan Peoples-Jones for value. Yeah. Tight end, I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet. Hunter Henry, I think, is my favorite value option because, I know he's touchdown dependent, but he has scored 5 touchdowns so far this year. Noah Fant, I think, is going to be a solid option against Philly. Let's see. Yeah, TJ Hawk is probably my top option because he's basically the number 1 target for Jared Goff. Kyle Pitts should have a decent game, but he's getting targets. It's like very rare that he's like making the most of them. There's only 2 times he's gone over 100 yards. He's only scored 1 touchdown this year, so it's been kind of a inconsistent year. My favorite value play is Pat Freiermuth. I mean, I'm surprised that it's taken him this long to get this involved in the offense. I know Eric Ebron is in here, and he's going to be back. So that's going to take away from Freiermuth, so I probably wouldn't play Freiermuth. Again, touchdown dependent with Eric Ebron. Ricky Seals-Jones is a solid option. He's been getting a lot of targets since Logan Thomas went down. Dan Arnold is another good value option. He's getting a lot of targets in Jacksonville. Same with Tyler Conklin. But my favorite plays would be Hawk. I think Zach Ertz is a pretty good option, but I think Hawk, Fant, Henry, Dan Arnold, Tyler Conklin. I like Mo Alley Cox, but he is almost exclusively touchdown dependent. So I think that's where I'm going to be at. And then as for DST, I don't focus too much on defenses. I usually go with like the cheapest ones that have the best matchup. So with that being said, I would go with the Panthers. I know the Arizona Cardinals have one of the best offenses in the league, but the Panthers have been playing really well in defense. The Seahawks, because they're going up against Jordan Love this week, so I think the Seahawks would be a good option. The Titans would be a good option because I know I was mentioning Mark Ingram, but I think the Titans could be a good option just because they're going to be going against Trevor Siemian. I don't really pay attention too much to the defense. It's just best options overall. Heck, you could even punt and go Jets. They could even surprise and give Buffalo a problem. So, all right, that's going to be it. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you like this content, please subscribe and like this video. If I get hopefully my picks do well this week. We'll do a mock lineup real quick, I guess, to close things out. So I guess my My top play, let's see. Let's go with Herb. Let's go with let's go with Ingram. And we'll throw JT in there, wide receiver. Let's see. How do I want to do this? Throw Russell Gage in there. Let's see. Evans and Coop. We'll go Dan Arnold. Let's do the defense. I'll throw the Jets in there for right now. We got 6,500 left. Tyler Lockett's a great option there. I usually like going running backs in the flex, but I don't really like some of the options we have at running back here. Could go Dearness Johnson, but we got 65, so I think I'm going to throw Lockett in there. So there's one lineup I don't really hate. Decent mix there. Now, if we were to go value at quarterback, well, not really value, but if we were to go on the cheaper scale, like Carson Wentz, let's see. If we were to go Carson Wentz, let's go Dearness Johnson as like the value play. And then up here, let's roll with Dalvin on this one. And then Wentz, I want to pair him with his pass catcher, Michael Pittman. We'll throw Jarvis Landry in there. And we'll go Mike Williams. And then let's throw Dan Arnold. All right, let's just throw the Jets, see what we got. We got 7,800 left, so decent amount. I'm throwing Austin Eckler in there. So if you go, now you can even upgrade the defense, I think. Yeah, let's do, I don't really like the Jags. So yeah, I'm going to stay with the Jets right there. There's a lineup there with like a punt not punt, but cheaper option at quarterback. You can pay up for some of these better players like Dalvin Cook, and then also grab Pittman and Mike Williams and Eckler. So this is honestly, Eckler, like running backs like this is my favorite option in the flex position if I'm able to swing it. All right, now that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button for more content, all that stuff. And then if you explore the rest of the channel and see any other videos you like, that's great too. And I'll see you all in the next one. Best of luck for you this weekend in DFS.